Well, hello, you good people, and welcome to Life on Earth. On this fine September 22nd, the week of Talk Like a Pirate Day. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking like a pirate, but in honor of International Talk Like a Pirate Day, I would like to talk to you about swagger, about swashbuckling, about heartiness, and joie de vie, the lust for life. And I want to share my perspective on day-to-day passion and some practical advice, including a few hard-won tips that I think you will find valuable. Yes, Monday was International Talk Like a Pirate Day, and that's a holiday broader than just acolytes of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. A day for all of us to adopt a little more swagger, practice our bad sailors' accents, whatever those be. Take bigger bites out of the turkey leg of life. Don our bandits' masks and become the world's greatest thieves. And model living larger, bigger, louder, bolder. You know, the great thing about pirate films, and I go back to 1935's Captain Blood with Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland, Basil Rathbone, or 1940's The Seahawk, or Treasure Island, or Pirates of the Caribbean, or even The Princess Bride. The great thing is that we can fancy ourselves throwing off the shackles of what Alfred P. Doolittle so scoffingly called middle-class morality and live for our own sakes, with nary a care for the expectations of others. It's fun. A little silly, more than a little childish, and surprisingly empowering. And in regard to films, and especially adventures, there is a quality to these great movie stars, the Errol Flynns, the Basil Rathbones, even the Johnny Depp, a larger-than-life quality, a sense of living above and beyond. And we see some of that in real life. People we meet with this extraordinary joie de vivre, a great lust for life, sometimes big and bold and beautiful, but sometimes just a smoldering intensity, and sometimes a mischievous spark. It's why we can find ourselves feeling a sudden kinship or a romantic crush, even love at first sight with someone who has that extra quality, that quality of living, of joyfulness, of confidence, even cockiness, of being simultaneously happy, grateful, eager, excited, and proud to be alive. Now, what's interesting and sometimes frustrating is that this spark, this zeal, this something extra, it seems sometimes to be visceral, inherent in certain people from the start. So let me take a moment to consider this kind of lust for life in the context of the philosophical concept, happiness, per Ayn Rand. Happiness is that state of consciousness which proceeds from the achievement of one's values. They're quoting Galt's speech. Happiness is a state of non-contradictory joy. Joy without penalty or guilt, a joy which does not clash with any of your values and does not work for your own destruction. Not the joy of escaping from your mind, but of using your mind's fullest power. Not the joy of faking reality, but of achieving values that are real. Not the joy of a drunkard, but of a producer. Excuse me. Now, the last time we talked about the prerequisites of happiness, I'm going to do what I did then. I'd like to reread this, but with the contrasts, the comparisons, the opposites, the negatives left out. Happiness is a state of non-contradictory joy, the joy of using your mind's fullest power, the joy of achieving values that are real, the joy of a producer. Happiness is possible to a rational man, the man who desires rational goals, seeks rational values, and finds his joy in rational action. This view of happiness, the positive understanding and explanation, this is crucial. In philosophy, in objectivism, in our own personal lives, there's no point in fighting if we don't know what we're fighting for. What I'm fighting for is pleasure. But that pervasive, joyous pleasure, passion, culminating in a deep and abiding happiness. Sorry, distracted by the chat there because somebody's looking for the super chat icon. That's exactly the right thing to be doing. I want to see those super chats come in, especially after the daily objective today, which was interesting. I'll talk more about that, and did provoke a substantial amount of super chat. But let me continue real quick here. Again, what I'm fighting for is pleasure in the form of a pervasive, joyous passion, culminating in deep and abiding happiness. For a technical discussion of certainty and happiness, Leonard Peikoff has provided the perfect lecture. And happily, the Ayn Rand Center UK on Sunday morning is continuing their sessions with James Valiant. The sessions resume this week on September 25th with a discussion of that lecture, Certainty and Happiness, Achieving Success in Thought and Action. Now, for in-depth insights into this crucial essay and the Ford Hall Forum presentation, James Valiant's study group sessions simply cannot be beat. So if you haven't yet signed up for a membership with the Ayn Rand Center UK, this is the compelling reason you've been waiting for. Go to aynrandcenter.co.uk, click membership at the top, sign up now. And Apollo Zeus is in the super chat with £2 saying, the joy of piracy. It's funny, I've talked about the joy of sex before, not the joy of sex, but the book, The Joy of Sex, on this program before. And the joy of piracy is very much related to that. And Allie asks, with a $2 super chat, where's the parrot, the eye patch, the bandana? I swear, and I talked to the producer about this, I seriously considered pulling an old Halloween costume, and Lord knows I've been a pirate more than once, dusting them off and dressing up. But we've got important things to talk about, so the pirate theme will only come back intermittently throughout the show. I didn't want to distract it, or maybe I was just too lazy to dress up, you scallywags. Don't be bothering me about that now. Certainty and happiness. As powerful as these ideas are in making happiness understandable and consequently achievable, I want to talk about joy. Well, joy, that's that in-between bit. We talk about pleasure leads to joy in the moment, persistent joy leads to happiness. Why talk about that middle bit? Eleanor Roosevelt is quoted, and God knows whether she really said it. I got a link to the quote investigation on this one in the show notes that I will post right after the show. Eleanor Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy. You compare yourself to others, you feel like you weren't as good, it just ruins any joy you've got. But isn't comparison just a form of differentiation? Or looked at it another way, isn't comparison an aspect of judgment and therefore justice and objectivity? No, we've got to compare. We got to differentiate all the time. The point is not to avoid comparison, the thief of joy, but to judge objectively and wisely. Objectively meaning reality-based, and wisely, which means purposefully, for reasons, and rationally, consciously, conceptually. My take-home point regarding this, and I'm going to have a few great take-home points. I call them great because they're great. Come on, it's Talk Like a Pirate Week. I'm not going to be modest. Take-home point regarding comparison. Use comparison aspirationally and inspirationally People who make you say, wow, compare only to enjoy them and to strive to be like them. You don't ever want somebody who you look at and say, wow, that's great, to make you feel, oh, wow, I'm not good enough. That's not the point. So comparison is the thief of joy. I want you to be a thief of joy. I want you to find passion wherever it is. You must know how to steal the joy, to extract joy from people, from things, from life. You must know how to achieve a joyous state. And fortunately, this is an ongoing project, something we can work on anytime we like. And we should. If objectivism is the owner's manual for life, the first fully complete and accurate one in mankind's history, it stands to reason that objectivists can and should be not just the happiest, but among the most joyous, enthusiastic, passionate people on earth. And happily, there are many ways we can boost our love for lust for life. So here I'm going to share just a few. Take notes. These are short and powerful. Remember, no modesty today. Okay, quick tips. Change your physical and psychological state. No, change your stance. Here, let me sit up straight. Shoulders back, chin up. God, that kind of changed everything. Sit up straight, breathe deeply, adopt an eager expression, neck extended, eyes wide open, and work on your posture, which, probably notice is a real challenge for me. Okay, next. Heighten your awareness. Increase your focus, open those eyes wider, take in the sights around you. My God, what a beautiful studio I have. See, here's what's going on here is there's a current trend in mindfulness. And that sounds so woo. And yeah, there's a lot of woo people advocating being present. But there is a kernel of truth in mindfulness activities that's enormously powerful and is not something you get rationalistically from philosophy. So hear what's going on. Feel the atmosphere. Speaking of sense, of inputs, tailor your inputs, craft your lighting, curate your surroundings, select with care the music that's playing, the fragrances or fresh air that you're breathing, the feel and appearance of the clothes you're wearing. And change your universe. Oh, wait, how do you change your universe? And you may recall a conversation I had with James Valiant. Talked about it on my shows too. Leonard Peikoff shared a phrase that Ayn Rand often used. Instead of asking people when she would greet them, how are you? She would say, how's your universe? Meaning, how's your view of the universe? Have you been swamped with the day-to-day challenges, or are you still holding firm to the fact that values are possible and can be achieved? You change your universe by focusing on values, on opportunity, on gratitude, on benevolence, on who you are and where you are and what you are. You change your universe. No, you can't change your sense of life by an act of will. It changes very slowly, if at all. You change your universe by choosing to focus on opportunity and gratitude and benevolence and graciousness and vulnerability and reverence and intimacy. You change your universe. I always used to scoff when people would say, be the change you want to be in the world. And I thought, well, I can be the best guy in the world. That doesn't fix the world. The world still sucks. But that was never the point. The point is you change your life by changing you, because you are 98% of what your life is. Mirror joy. Take it in and reflect it back. Mirror joy, take in joy. See, I know, I get it. I totally get it, that it can be cathartic to watch horror stories or thrillers, listen to speed metal, read dystopian fiction, watch news channels all day, as if that's somehow having an impact on all of those things you abhor. Of course, I know you know better than that. Mirror joy. Take it in and reflect it back. Read a joyful book. Watch a joyous film, ideally one without a tragic ending. Play music, not just with triumph in it, which of course a lot of speed metal does, but music with joy and passion. And let yourself react empathetically, deeply, viscerally. Model and visualize. Model excitement and passion. Visualize your state, you, right now. If you suddenly remembered, oh my God, in 2 hours, I am boarding an airplane for Oahu, Hawaii, for 2 weeks in the sun with a dear friend or lover. If you had an airplane to board in 2 hours from right now, that would change your state in a heartbeat. And you can do that. You can do that knowledge. You can close your eyes and say, okay, that state I would be in, I could feel that right now, at least a bit of it, because there are exciting things going on right now and exciting things I could focus on. And half of the things I would do on a vacation, I can do sitting here at my desk at work or at home. The chat just distracted me. And Apollos says, or several lovers. Yes, several lovers. Go to the islands with several lovers. It's funny, Amy and I have been watching, of all things, Fantasy Island. And as ridiculous as the plots for this show were, as absurd as the premise is, the idea of going to a vacation hotspot where they set you up with a fantasy situation. It works. Strangely enough, it works. And it works for all of these reasons. Read and listen to inspirational, aspirational, celebratory talks and speeches. Now, I'm posting a few of these in the show notes right after the show. But for example, you may have already seen Lisa Van Dam's talk, Hugo Rostan Ernani and How to Be a Romantic, presented at OCON 2022. If you haven't watched that yet, I'll find time. It's kind of long. It's one of the best things you will hear this year. Read chapter 11 of Anthem. Visit the Desiderata website. What is the Desiderata? By Max Ehrman. It's an inspirational poem written almost 100 years ago. And the website includes other inspirational writings, for example, the Invictus. And read these things out loud. Make them yours by reading them out loud. I can read in my head. I get a good sense of the voice in my head. I don't have to read them out loud. No, you do. Trust me, it changes everything. Read the Holstein Manifesto. If you've seen my Facebook website, that's my cover art. The Holstein Manifesto. If you haven't already, listen to Randy Pausch's last lecture, Achieving Your Childhood Dreams. This is a lecture by a guy, gets up on stage, one of the most joyful, enthusiastic people you'll ever meet, except that he was dying of cancer at the time. He was gone within a year, and he knew it. Listen to Randy Pausch's last lecture. Watch the recent ARCUK shorts. There's a recent short in which James Valiant asks, are we living in the most stressful times in human history? Spoiler alert, no, we're not. Not by a long shot. At the Human Progress website, there's an article. Read, things are getting better. So why are we all so gloomy? Or just watch the Louis C.K. skit on Conan O'Brien. This is going back a few years. It's titled on YouTube. The link will be in my show notes. Everything is amazing and nobody's happy. If parts of this sound like an optimism playlist, I mean, that's fair, but that's not the point. The goal here isn't to make us more optimistic about the future, but to find ourselves more joyful, more passionate about life right here, right now. And though it sounds ironic or maybe contradictory, not all joy is happy. Listen to the episode I did with Amy Nasir on Tears of Splendor. What's your overwhelm? And think about what brings you that sense of being overwhelmed with joy. What gets you choked up? What brings the tears, not of sadness, but of passion, of overwhelm, of this is too much? Make a list. And then revisit that list. Listen to that music. Read those books. Look at that art. Watch those films. And finally, journal. Wait, journal. This part sounds like work. The rest of it, I could do that by like watching this episode again or playing a bunch of the other videos and reading a few of those speeches. Now you're asking me to journal? Yes. Do the work. It's like a job, except you're the employer. You're doing the work for yourself. Okay, maybe you could do this in your head, but this is far more powerful, more potent on paper. Like, complete this sentence stub. Finish this sentence. I am glad to be alive because... And fill in that blank as many times as you can. Finish as many times in as many different ways as you can. I am grateful for, when I am at my very best, I am, and fill that in. Visualize joy, then journal, then plan, then take action. There are people that we meet who have that exuberance. They're just delightful. There are people we see who make us fall in love with them, or who make us fall in love with the world, with this life, with ourselves. The spark that we see, and not just their beauty or their level of fitness or their position in the world, although all of that's a part of it, but their joy, their passion, their benevolence, their comfort within their own skin. Their joy excites us and inspires, and it should inspire us. Ayn Rand wrote, joy is the goal of existence, and joy is not to be stumbled upon, but to be achieved. And the act of treason is to let its vision drown in the swamp of the moment's torture. Joy is the goal of existence, and joy is not to be stumbled upon, but to be achieved. And if all of that sounds unrealistic or unimportant, or worst of all, optional, if the positive motivations don't inspire you to take these actions, I'll give you one final motivation. I know a lot of good, successful, happy objectivists. A lot of good, happy, successful admirers of Ayn Rand. But I want more. More quantity and more quality. There are concepts which we as a community don't yet own. Concepts that aren't specifically objectivist, but if anyone's going to get them right and capitalize on them, wear them like we'd wear our own favorite clothes, use them like the most important tools in our toolbox, it should be the objectivist community. concepts like honor, loyalty, resolve, joyfulness, courage, graciousness, vulnerability, benevolence, reverence, confidence, intimacy, wisdom, devotion, playfulness, passion, panache. I see these things in objectivists, but I want more, especially these latter. If anyone should have a lust for life, if anyone should have the joie de vivre, if anyone should turn the eye of any conscious passerby, inspire that love at first sight, it should be the people who've actually opened the owner's manual for life and are living a life that is an end unto itself. It should be you. You know, sometimes I am downright indignant that not just ministers, preachers, but intellectuals and motivational speakers like Zig Ziglar or Anthony Robbins, people like Sam Harris or Jordan B. Peterson are filling stadiums and evoking passion. I know it's because of the culture is mixed. There's a lot of bad ideas out there, and charismatic speakers with bad ideas can fire people up. I get that. But that's all the more reason I'm indignant. And I want you to feel that too. Indignation that anyone has more of that spark, that sparkle, that energy, that infectious eagerness about life, more than we do. And I want you to feel a passion to be the kind of person that rightly causes curiosity, interest, admiration, romantic crushes, and for good reality-based reasons. The kind of person that causes love at first sight. That's a no mean feat, I know. So this week, I am a pirate of joy. Before I wrap up, let me remind you, you are on the Ayn Rand Center UK channel, watching on YouTube, an organization that is giving me the means to tell you, get out there and live your own best life, loud, proud, bold, amplified, noisy, with a swagger. And you need to support this channel. You need to support this organization. Good people doing good work. If you're not already a member, you know what to do. AynRandCenter.co.uk. Click membership at the top, or just click the link in the chat. It'll take you right where you need to be. This week, I am a pirate of joy. I am stealing joy. I am a marauder of exuberance, a swashbuckling rogue of passion. And I want that for you. Be big, be bold, be loud. With our metaphorical pirate's hat cocked to one side, show that swagger, that pride, that lust for life that you so richly deserve. Join me in Clubhouse if you're ready to talk more. And in the meantime, have a fantastic life on Earth.